Welcome to an unannounced live stream. I figured I'd just turn on the camera. I have 1 hour to get this impression completed, and I just carved away some really tiny bits from this rock face. It's hard to see. You can see all these little bits that I'm carving away, and I'm going to be printing just like a neutral gray right on top of this green, yellow-green color. And it's going to represent the rock face. So I have this darker gray here, and we'll see how that color works. I can show you, this is the sheet that I transferred from, and I just went on the computer at the photo reference and I just highlighted the little areas that I wanted to take away for the highlights of this rock face. So I just highlighted, took those areas away in the linoleum, and then I can always refer back to it. As I'm starting to slowly carve away from these little pieces, this will give me a reference of what I have already carved away. So the next time I'll use a different color highlighter, maybe an orange, for the next areas that I want to carve away, and then I'll find those areas here, carve them away, and so on and so forth, until all of the rock face is carved away, and then we will be focusing on the darks. And the darks will be all the black areas that you see here. So I'll be printing like a really dark green to start, and then I'll slowly be coming out towards the highlights of the yellows and oranges and greens of all these tree masses. So let's get started today. We're gonna roll up this color. Sorry I didn't announce, but I'm just printing when I can find the time. Again, this is just another flat impression. This is just going to be a neutral gray. And as I roll on this ink, you can see all the little pieces that I carved away. So when I carve these pieces away, that's going to reveal the color that's underneath, which is this yellow-green color. Now this rock face on this cliff is actually in shadow because I have the light set up from a distance. It's really an indirect lighting system that I have going on in this landscape. So the light is really coming from the sky, but on the back side of these cliffs. So this cliff face and this rock cliff face that's here is actually in shadow. So are these mountains in the distance here. So I really have to start thinking about the light and how it actually is going to fall. And now this is just a system that I'm developing, and it's not from my photo reference. The light in my photo reference is different. So I'm just creating this scenario through my print. So I'm trying to figure out how it's going to make sense. I have to pull up the stream here, the comments section, see who's joining us. Here we go. Turn this volume down. Pam. Yeah, sorry I'm an hour late. I was actually printing some other things this morning, and I ran out of time. I didn't post any announcement that I'll be printing today, so I just turned on the camera. But I have to go at 2 o'clock, pick up my son from school. So I have just enough time to do one impression today. I have a feeling this color is going to be too dark, but let's see. First, I need a Baron. Let's see here. There we are. I'm pretty sure this is going to be too dark, but that's okay. We'll figure that out in the first impression here. This is my test sheet. I always print this one first. Send it over here to the press. see what we have. Another dramatic change in the print. It's my guess. Ah, it's very dark. Very, very, very dark. But it's just dark enough to see these little highlight areas of the rock face. But as I said, this is just a base tone. The rock face is in shadow. But I don't want to go too dark too quick. You can always bring it forward with oil. You can always highlight. So I will be bringing some colors closer in value. Stuart M has a question. I had a question after the last stream. He's asking about how I pull the paper off the block. So I'm happy with this color, I think. I think it's going to be alright. It looks kind of dull and dark, but that's kind of what I'm going for at this moment. So you just have to trust the process here. It looks like it's going too dark too quick. But you have to remember I'm pushing down the darks, and then I'm going to put it black down, and then I'm going to highlight from that. So I think this is a good color. I'm going to keep moving forward. If anything, I could just add a little bit of white, which I have some here. I might just lighten this a little bit. I don't know if this is even going to do anything. I can answer your question on the next one. He's asking about how I pull the block from how I pull the paper from the block. Now, depending on how much surface area I'm pulling from, just add a little bit of white to this ink. I'm not going to get too fussy with that. I'll just clean my palette knife real quick. So depending on how much area, this is a large area, and it's coated with a thick layer. This is a very thick ink. There's no transparent base in here. There's no additives, so it's very sticky and very tacky. So after I run that print to the press, the paper's stuck down really hard. I can't just rip it off, or I could pull fibers. There's no sizing in this paper. So we have to remember that the paper is fragile, and if you just pull it off really quick, you could tear the paper, or you could pull fibers from the paper. Or so I do tension it also. I tension it across the paper when I pull it, because if you just pull from one side, you can get creases. The paper will crease, and it'll, I don't know how, with tension it'll just form a really tight crease, and sometimes you can't get that out of your paper. So it kind of ruins the surface of the paper. This happens a lot with the Mokuhanga, the washi. You have to really be careful, because if you fold that paper, sometimes you can't hide that crease. It's there forever. So you always tension across as you're pulling up, and you just go slow, and you just kind of let it happen naturally. But yeah, we don't want to rip it off. All right, so we'll do that when I pull this off here. So that's a good question, and a very good observation on your part, Stuart. If we were doing a light impression where you just had a small area, just a couple little area, you'd be able to just pull the paper right off. But this is a very thin paper. So if I were to just pull it like this, you can kind of see the paper could form a crease. So I kind of just hold it so it's evenly. I'm not pulling it up so much, I'm actually pulling it away. So you can see it I wish you could have better lighting, but you can see I'm just pulling it taut away, and it's just pulling it off the block. So that's a nice gray base tone. You can see all the little yellow, green yellow bits that are coming off of this is going to be rock face. So there'll be probably one more color on top of this, which will be a darker gray. And then I'll clear all the rock formations away. And then we're going to focus on the greens, the foliage of the trees last. Well, I'm glad you are interested in the finer details of printmaking, Stuart. But it's very important because I've ruined several prints from peeling them off too fast or not doing it appropriately. And it's always good to have 2 points of contact. You can easily just rip off with one hand, but that's where you're going to get a diagonal crease. And we don't want to damage. We've put a lot of effort into keeping these prints clean and healthy along this long process, this journey. So we just want to take care of them and make sure that they're healthy till the end. And usually I just ruin them at the very last impression. That's usually what I do. And I did another impression on my other block today, the trees and the pine trees on the cliff, the vertical print. I need to come up with a title for these so I can refer to them more easily. You can still see through this layer. You can see the layers underneath. You can see that diagonal pattern that's here. And that diagonal that you see is the purple that I applied in this distance. It's still underneath all those layers. So every layer is slightly transparent. Even though I didn't put transparent base in this one, you can still see through. So we're still getting these, I called them yesterday, the grays, the optical grays. So this optical gray down here, it's the paper. It's this yellow, green yellow tone that's underneath. And then it's the gray I'm applying to, and it's creating a new color, and it's a gray. It's different than this gray, which is influenced by all of these other layers underneath. So we're actually seeing through multiple layers of oil that are semi-transparent, semi-opaque. Your eye's going through these oils, hitting the paper, and the light is refracting back into your eyeball. So that's what's happening when you look at oil paintings. That's what is happening when you're looking at this sheet. And it's starting to work because you're starting to get this distance and you're starting to get this glow and this heat from the distance. And as we move forward, we'll introduce some more saturated greens, and we'll have oranges and yellows and reds eventually in these trees. It'll be like a fall sunset scene. That's the intention or the goal, so hopefully it works out. I'm also doing these base colors because I do want to knock down, I want it to knock down to a very flat base tone before I clear this rock area away and start working on the trees. I want it to all be the same flat tone. So this is another reason why I'm covering this whole block now. I want to take away that light and take away that white of the paper. Unify this whole shape. for the rest of the impressions. The temperature has dropped in New York City, so it actually feels like fall today. I feel like the air temperature outside is in the 60s today. What is it? 71 degrees in my room here. I don't have the windows open. I haven't opened the windows yet today, but it's cool outside. It's breezy, sunny, but it's breezy and cool. It feels like fall, and I really want to get outside and enjoy some of this weather. I've been stuck inside today printing. And that's not a complaint, that's a good thing. Getting things accomplished. And I'll show you the other print that I did today. Here's the block. Here's the block. You can see I printed a gradation of dark gray to light gray, and it's the same gray I'm using today. So I figured I need to start being more resourceful with my time and my ink. So let's show you one of these prints. So here is the rock face. I also added some texture into it. I balled up some paper, some craft paper, like some packing paper that they send in like Amazon boxes and stuff, that brown crafty paper. And I just kind of smooshed it on top of the block surface. So I wanted a little bit of variety and texture, because these are rocks and they're not flat and smooth at all. They're textured and they're hitting light's hitting them. So there'll be two other impressions on top of this. There'll be a darker gray on top of this, and then there'll be a black. So that's the print so far. So I'm happy with those colors. It's looking healthy. Gotta put this back in the drying rack if I can find the correct space. So each one has a little bit of a different texture to it. That's all right. I like that, the variety. They're all very similar, but then that makes every print unique on the edition. I believe the Battleship Gray, this gray here, it's about 50% gray. So this is just darker than 50%. So we're entering into the darker zones, the darker tones, darker values. I'm gonna have to move quick today if I want to get this done by 2 o'clock. I have 45 minutes, so I'm gonna move quickly. So this isn't too exciting today. It's a repeat of yesterday essentially. But I do like to document this process with these live streams. And I found out, I was looking on YouTube today, they made some announcements in September. I think they have a big convention every year where they invite creators, creators that have huge channels and are good at marketing and are experts in the field and expert YouTubers, and they invite them to these conventions and they roll out all their new programs and the changes and the things that they're developing and working on as a company. And they're going to be taking these live streams. This is going to be coming out soon. But you're going to be able to, I'll be able to use these live streams and use an AI tool that will cut, say I have a 1 hour live stream. They will be able to cut out the highlights, an AI tool. And I believe I'll be able to tell it, I want a 2 minute short from this 1 hour live stream. And the AI tool will just kind of cut and paste and piece it all together within probably like 5 seconds. And then I'm sure you'll be able to edit or add to it or tell it what you want it to do or focus on certain parts of the video or whatever you want. But it's really exciting because I can turn all these live videos or these live streams into shorts in a vertical format, which will be interesting. But they're really starting to push the live streams, especially vertical format live streams on YouTube. Because I think a lot of people are viewing podcasts and live streams on their telephone or on their iPhones or Androids in vertical format. Excuse me. And so they're starting to reward people that stream vertically. But there's also a new AI tool or a new tool that when I'm streaming this live, depending on what device you are on, it will either flip it vertical or horizontal for you. So in the beginning of these videos, I have to select if I wanted to stream horizontal or vertical. And I always select horizontal. But you're not going to have to do that anymore. They're just going to change it automatically depending on who's watching from what device. So there's some interesting things going on in the YouTube world on live streaming. And I'm glad I started this because I feel like I'm already ahead of the game just by practicing and doing these live streams. I already have some practice doing it. So yeah, the full replays will always be available. That's something that I select and I make sure that's available. So the full stream will be available, but I'll be able to just tell AI, hey, turn this into a short, and it'll pick out the highlights and turn it into a 1 minute or 2 minute short that I could just post as a separate video, and that could generate more followers or subscribers. I can reach people that are viewing just short content. So a lot of people are on YouTube, they're just swiping through shorts and they're just, swiping, looking for something to pop up in their feed. It's similar to people that are on Instagram or TikTok. They're just wasting time and getting that dopamine fix by scrolling. So it's just a way for me to get my videos and get my name out there to a new audience. And I'm not going to have to sit down and do the editing. I could sit down and I could download the replays and sit down and cut it up and put it, do it myself. But I think this AI tool, you're going to be able to do it. And it doesn't need to be a high quality image. I just want to get the gist of the live stream. And because I'm doing all this repetitious stuff, it'll probably pick out interesting times. It's not going to pick out a moment like when I'm over here putting this through the press, because visually there's nothing going on. But if I'm over here and I'm holding this up and I'm talking about this and I'm doing something that's different, the AI tool will pick that out. And it's also listening, so it can hear your voice. So what we'll probably hear when I answer questions, and when I'm just, when we were just talking about how we peel the paper off. And hopefully I'll be able to tell it, like, I can put markers on where I want them to focus the video. So I don't know how it's going to work, but it's going to be nice because it'll generate a short video for me and it'll be less work for me. And it could potentially bring more viewers to my channel, which is a positive thing for me. YouTube is very interesting. I'm glad I got involved in it. I'm not spending all of my time focusing on YouTube, but I will be spending more time making videos coming in November and definitely throughout this winter. I'll be making some more videos. I'm not sure if you can repost them to Instagram. That's an interesting question. I think so. I think they mentioned across platforms. So I think you would be able to cut and paste it. And I'm not sure exactly, but I'm sure you'll be able to cut and paste it, drop it into Instagram, and then just put some music behind it in Instagram. Because it's an open AI tool, meaning anyone can use it and anyone can use, anyone can use ChatGPT. It's all open. It's all public, like, domain. I think you could be able to just repost it on Instagram. That's a good question, Stuart. 2 good questions from Stuart today. But I don't know the answer to that one yet. But I'm guessing so. I'm guessing it would work across platforms. But yeah, YouTube is the second largest search engine next to Google in the world. And it's gonna pass Google eventually. And Google's actually falling behind because now ChatGPT is becoming the new search engine. And that's already, I think, surpassing Google. I'm not sure, but it's Google's obsolete, I think. Becoming obsolete. But don't quote me on all this. This is just stuff that I've been paying attention to. I listen to my podcasts, YouTube podcasts. But my goal as a YouTuber is to get 100,000 subscribers. So I can get that silver play button. And that would be really cool. So that's my goal. 100,000. I'm at 3.5. So I need 76.5 thousand more subscribers. And I don't even know if this niche, a printmaking niche, I don't even know if there's that many people. I'm guessing there are. Because Dave Bull, as Pam mentioned yesterday, I think he's got about 67,000 followers on his Twitch stream. So there must be 70,000 or 100,000 people out there interested in printmaking. But my goal is to find 70,000 people who never even heard of printmaking and turn them into printmakers, or be interested in it as collectors, or just interested in the process, or whatever they want to do. So that's my goal, is to like teach people about this art form. And it's very complex, it's not just, we're not just carving one color prints. These are, you know, this could be as complex as you want it to be. You can make photorealistic images using wood blocks and linoleum. And you can do single color prints, multicolor prints, monotypes, abstract work, you name it. You can do it. It's so versatile and it's accessible. Anybody can do this in their home. All you need is a table to work, a couple tools, some paper, and there's multiple ways to get an impression. You can use a wooden spoon. You don't need a printing press. I started doing, my first prints were linocuts, and I used a wooden spoon. Rubbed the back of the paper. I was sending out Christmas cards to my family, and I was doing 3-4 color prints. Reductive. That was my first linocut projects, and they came out well. Or at least I thought they did. But people really enjoyed them. I'm judging how much ink is on the block by seeing if I can see the drawing of the transfer underneath the ink. If I can see it clearly, I don't have enough ink on the block. So that's what I'm looking at when I roll this ink out. So I'll be headed to Buffalo, New York tomorrow. I have a wedding to go to this weekend. So you will not see me until next Tuesday on the live stream. That's another reason why I just threw the camera on today, because I don't know when I'll be back on Tuesday, I think. I pulled out these prints. Someone bought one of these from my website the other day. This was a Hasui reproduction I did, and I haven't put this one away. I was going to send this one out. So I always send the best. When people buy things off of my website, I always find the best one that I have available still, and I send it to them. But this was one of the prints that I like the best. But this was linoleum, multiple blocks. So I still have the blocks for these. I can print more of them. But this is the same process I'm doing now. On a nice washy paper. I think this is 100% Kozo paper. But you can see the transparency of the inks, and you can see there's a texture in here. I tried to make it look like a wood block by carving or by using sandpaper on the linoleum, and you can see those lines that the sandpaper created in this island here. And then I put my initials in there, kind of hid my initials. You can kind of see it there, SW. I hid it in there. I didn't want it to be apparent because this is a Hasui reproduction. This was a small little postcard. It was about half of this, a quarter of this size, maybe about 5 inches. And I blew it up, turned it into a reproduction, a linoleum reproduction. So I can create these images that look like woodblock prints using the Western printmaking materials. So those are available if anyone's interested. I gotta get outside at some point today. It's so nice out there. I was actually went outside. I want to show you guys. I went outside and I did a little painting outdoors. My son had soccer practice. I have to find it. My son had soccer practice last night at Van Cortlandt Park, and I had about an hour to go find a spot to paint. So I went over, there's a little pond. There's a golf course in Van Cortlandt Park, which is, Van Cortlandt Park is the large park that's in the Bronx, the largest park that's in the Bronx. And they have a golf course, the oldest public golf course in America. And they have a pond on the one side of it. It's the starting hole of the golf course. But the other side of it is a bike path that I always ride my bicycle on. And the trees are turning for the fall, and there's some nice reflection in the pond. So I walked over there and sat down. I didn't have an easel, and I just brought some gouache paints, which gouache is watercolor paints that are in tubes. I have the tubes, and they are watercolors, but with opaque, the white is opaque, so there's opacity in and you can layer them, so normally watercolor, just like Mokuhanga, you build off of the white of the paper, and you slowly add darks on top of each other, leaving the white of the page as the whitest part of the painting. But with gouache, you can add white. So it's more similar to oil paint. So you can build up the lights, or you can push back the darks, or you can push and pull the darks and lights on top of each other. You can layer it. And they dry really quick, and I've never used them before. So I just bought a couple tubes a few weeks ago, because I want to start painting more outside. You know, just in my sketchbook or whenever. So I went outside, sat down. I didn't have a little easel, so I was just like sitting on the ground on a rock. Had a little palette, squeezed out some colors and I made a little painting. And it was actually really fun and relaxing. So I got this, because you can use white, I got this gray, toned gray sketchbook so that the sheet, when I do oil paintings, I like to work from a ground, like a gray or a neutral ground. So this is a painting I made last night. And you can see this is like a willow tree. The sun was coming in and setting very rapidly. So I had to work quickly. This is like a 20-minute sketch in gouache. So I just wrote the date and the time and the location. But the sunlight was hitting this willow tree and it was just this bright yellow green color. There was a little bit of a reflection. But then off to the right here, there's this beautiful red. It was an oak tree or something. It was like bright red. So I just added a little bit of red on the margin. And that sun was coming down. Some of these trees behind it were in shadow. And then I just kind of roughed in some watery textures. And there's all these lily pads, and there's just so much information in these little paintings. So you have to work quick. And that's what painting outside really forces you to simplify, work quick. So, you know, develop a composition. But you could see how it's opaque. It dries matte. It's really interesting, these gouache paints. So this is my new thing. My goal is to fill up this sketchbook with plein air paintings, or paintings from outside. So how many sheets? 50 sheets. So I want to fill this bad boy up. So that's my goal. Sit down and do some more painting, observe nature. I did a couple other ones here. These aren't as... This is a rock face where I was climbing the Adirondacks. That one's okay. And this was my first one. I did it in like 5 minutes. I was really just seeing what the material would do, or the medium would do. But I would like to fill this sketchbook up. And I want to sit down and do some like buildings of the city and maybe some bridges in New York City. You know, just go out for a half an hour and on location and just paint. It's just really, really relaxing. I encourage people to do something like that, or go out and sketch. And now I lost track of what I was doing. I think this block, because I can't see the drawing underneath the transfer, so I think this block is inked up. We have 6 people on here right now. I appreciate anybody who's checking in and watching these live streams. Thank you for joining, participating. Got 20 minutes to finish. Maybe 10 more to do, or 8 more to do. I think I could do that. I'm gonna roll this ink on. Just make sure I get the corners, cover all the areas. Thanks, Pam. It's just a little sketch. I'm learning how to use those paints because they dry much lighter than they appear when they're wet and you're applying them to the page. They look dark and they dry like a whole value level lighter. So I'm trying to figure out how they work. I think I need a little bit more ink on the block. One by one, they go through the press, and they come off the block, and then they go to the drying rack for the evening, where they sleep and they dry. That's the life of a print. They come out for like 1 minute, get their impression, pressed through the printing press, and then they go back over to the rack and dry for the night. Really enjoy this paper. It's holding up very well. It's very strong. I'll be buying more of this paper if it's available still. I don't know what I would do without this drying rack. I used to hang my prints on like a clothesline. The clothespins across my apartment or down my hallway. And now I have a little 20 I have 20 racks, or 20 file drying rack. And a print this size, it can hold 2 across, so I can hold like 40 prints at this size. It's on a little cart with wheels, and it is a game changer. What do we have? 4 more, and then we'll be done. I have this green tape on the table here. I was doing a little project, little side project today. Just doing a couple little mono prints with some leftover ink. These were my registration marks. It's my corner Kento. This is my flat Kento. I did it right on this piece of glass. I was just messing around with some ideas. I can show you, I guess. It's not finished yet. Just using my leftover ink, and I'm thinking about doing this. I have this idea, this like abstract idea, geometric shapes and stuff. I guess it would go like this. But it was just using this glass palette, and these are my registration marks. Just watching these like really interesting videos about. I've been showing you examples of Turner, JMW Turner. I've been showing you some of these as reference. I've been looking at this book. Hello. Good afternoon. I've been showing you this book because I've been looking at it for like just color reference and just inspiration. A lot of these are oil paintings, but I want to look at one of these. Some of these have to be watercolors. Here's a watercolor, the British Museum. This is a watercolor as well. And Turner made thousands of watercolors. This is a watercolor. There's definitely some body in there, meaning there's some white, some opaque white. You can see the white gouache. See how that white goes over this yellow. So that yellow ochre was laid down first, and then this white, opaque white, comes over the yellow, and it forms almost like a red. And these are the optical grays that I'm talking about. And then that white was over the blue, was over a yellow in the sky. And then on top of that white, he does this transparent cool or green color. And he was just like a master of experimentation with watercolor. And then he translated, this is a watercolor painting. Just very, it doesn't look so interesting now to us today, but at the time when these were made, this is 1834. This is a study of a building. This is gouache on a gray paper. And at the time, people just thought he was crazy. They're like, he's a lunatic. These paintings are a joke. He's laughing at the salon, the French salon. They're like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. But now, and then, we see things that are abstract, but at the time, these were way ahead of his time. These are both watercolors. But I watched this interesting video last night about him, and this guy's been studying him. He's in, a lot of these are watercolors. This one. This is a watercolor as well. Just so rich, and like there's so much character or so much like emotion in these. But this guy's been studying his watercolors for 30 years or something, and he has got a couple interesting YouTube videos, and it's just making me want to use different mediums. Like I want to get some nice watercolor paper and experiment with it. It's a watercolor of a ship on fire. So it's just this is impressionism, is what it is. He's just getting the impression of a ship that's on fire. He's letting the water and the medium take over the paper and let it naturally grow and controlling the medium. It looks like it's not in control, like he's not in control, but he very much is so. So yeah, that was a really interesting video last night. But it's making me want to experiment with some more watercolors. Which is another reason why I'm outside painting last night with my new gouache set. Excited to fill up that sketchbook. Sorry, I'm just like super distracted today. Which paper are you speaking of? Rafta 7W7. Which paper? That sketchbook paper I was showing you? That gray toned one? I like that paper too. If that's what you're talking about, I like that paper as well. They say it's just a drawing paper, but it's pretty good for mixed media. It really works well with that gouache. Supposedly with the gouache, you don't want a real absorbent watercolor paper because the opacity, they dry really quick, and they don't, you want them to sit on top of the paper a little bit more. So that's why I got that mixed media kind of flat paper. The corner's bent on this paper here. Or are you talking about the paper that I'm using here, that I'm printing with? Or is it Rafita? I can't see, it's so far away. Rafita. What's up, Plant Scout? Didn't know you stream. What's up? What's up, man? Yeah, I stream. This is my 26th live stream. My 27th episode. I just number them. I just put them up. I'm just keeping a... It's like I want to fill up my sketchbook with paintings. I have 50 sheets in my sketchbook. I want to fill up my YouTube channel with live streams, so I'm on number 27. Each episode is jam-packed with very important information about printmaking. So if you watch every single live stream from the beginning till now, you will be a master printmaker. All right, 3 more. And then I'm out of here. We'll pick up my son from school. Today's Thursday, so we have Taekwondo tonight. Or he has Taekwondo tonight. My 8-year-old son has more of a social life than I do. He has soccer practice, Taekwondo, plays at the park with his friends. Plays video games with his friends at night on the weekends. You know, he's got more of a social life than I do. I guess I just sit here and talk to you guys. All 10 of you. He actually hurt his leg at soccer last night. I think he pulled a muscle, his quad a little bit. He usually runs to the bus in the morning. And today he was not running. He was kind of limping. So I said, take it easy at school. You know, no kickball at recess. So I don't know if he's actually going to go to Taekwondo tonight. But I'm trying to go to the climbing gym tonight. I haven't been to the climbing gym yet this week. And I have some time this evening. I like to go in the evening, around 9 o'clock. The gym closes at 10. So I like to get there around 8:30 or 9. Because it's very quiet there and I can just relax and climb and there's not too many people. And it's very relaxing. And it's very good for my mind and body. So I'm trying to go to the climbing gym tonight. And I've been neglecting my bicycle. I haven't been on my bike in over a week. Or 2 weeks almost. Because I've been so busy with getting preparation for this exhibition coming up. I've been sacrificing my exercise routine for the last couple of weeks. Which that's not healthy. I need to find time to exercise. Yeah, so Plant Scout, all these live streams, you can watch the replay. There's a bunch of replays listed on the live section on my YouTube channel. You can go back and watch them if you're interested in. Pretty much started this print from the first or second impression, I think. Let's see, almost every color. They're repetitious, you know, doing the same thing over and over. I don't find myself very entertaining, so I guess I'm more of a how-to video or a how-to channel. I'm just sharing my process with people, how I do prints and stuff, so more of a how-to channel, I guess. And this is the last sheet. Thanks for joining me today. I hope everyone enjoys their weekend. I won't be around till next Tuesday. You'll probably see me on Tuesday. I'll give you an update if I'm going to live stream on Tuesday, which I should. And you'll probably see me working on this next color, which is going to be a slightly darker, probably warmer gray on top of this gray. And then I'll be working on the greens after that, the trees. So this print is getting closer. Maybe like, I'm gonna guess 6 to 8 impressions more to go on this one. So we're almost there. We're past halfway, and now we're heading towards home on this print. But there's still much more work to do, and I have about 3 weeks to finish it. So hopefully we can finish this one up. Thanks for joining me again today, and be sure to subscribe on my YouTube channel and turn on your notifications, and I'll talk to you all later. See you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.